Welcome to footballgameplan.com, where football makes sense. I'm Emery Hunt, the czar of the playbook. Bring you our NFC wildcard playoff preview between the Minnesota Vikings and the Green Bay Packers. Now let's take a look at some keys to victory for both teams, starting with the Vikings.
When you look at the Vikings on offense, you instantly want to focus on Adrian Peterson. He is the focal point of their game plan, over 2,000 yards at a healthy 6.1 yards a carry. But what's been most impressive about the Vikings is that in the last couple of weeks, they've been involving more people within that offense. Fullback Jerome Felton, tight end Kyle Rudolph has gotten involved, and it's those easy throws that help Christian Ponder, quote unquote, manage the football game, not turn the ball over, keep the offense on pace. And you can't have any type of offense if you don't have outstanding offensive line play. The Vikings offensive line, left to right tackle, have done outstanding all season long. One, opening up holes in the running game and also keeping Christian Ponder well protected. Quiet as kept, he has had all day to throw the football and find targets deep down the field. Now let's go inside the lab and look at this Vikings defense and see what they can do this time around, a third time around, against the vaunted Green Bay Packers offense.
In the first matchup versus the Green Bay Packers, the Minnesota Vikings utilized a lot of cover 2 man under. In the second matchup, which was last week, they utilized a lot of blitz packages. This week, expect something different. My suggestion, try to get stunts up front to get your defensive line a lot of pressure on Aaron Rodgers without blitzing. We know they're a cover 2 base team, so this is your basic cover 2. Boom, short flats, backer drops in his hook responsibilities. Outside backer drops into his curl responsibilities. Weak side got hook to curl. Deep halves by the safeties. But up front, it's all about getting pressure. In my opinion, I think they can get pressure down the A-gap. That's how you disrupt what Aaron Rodgers wants to do on offense. So here's what we have. Basic stunt up front. We're going to do a delayed twist, and we're going to affect this center right there. Got to get pressure down this A-gap. So we're going to have the outside end pushing hard on the outside shoulder of the tackle. We're going to have the defensive tackle right here cross face and attack this gap here. Why? Because we're going to work this defensive end delayed back over in the A gap. Tackle going to cross face of the center and attack the A gap here. So that's where we're going to attack this coverage. We're going to try to confuse the center and confuse the blitz protection, or the protection up front, not blitz protection, just regular protection up front. Influence these guys to take one, so that way one guy comes free. So stunting up front allows the Vikings to get pressure on Aaron Rodgers, because let's be honest, they were able to match up very well in the first meeting and in the second meeting. This time, utilizing D-line stunts, allowing the D-line to get pressure instead of blitzing, puts them in better situation to protect themselves versus the passing game of Green Bay.
Now let's move over to the Packers in this matchup, and getting Charles Woodson back will be a huge addition for this defense. One, it allows them more creativity on the back end. Charles Woodson is a guy that can play defensive end, linebacker, nose tackle. He can play on your offense if you want him to, but this is the guy that allows your secondary to be more creative. You can go with a big nickel look. You can put him down as an extra linebacker in a 4-2-5. You can get creative, just freeing up more opportunities, so that way guys like Casey Hayward and company can make more plays on the ball. But it all starts this week with the front seven. They have to make sure Adrian Peterson doesn't get over 100 yards like he's done so far this season against this Green Bay Packers defense. You want to make this game Christian Ponder versus Aaron Rodgers. You want to force Ponder to prove that last week wasn't an aberration. But let's go inside the lab and look at this Packers offense to see what they can do this time around versus that Vikings defense.
We know the Green Bay Packers are effective when Aaron Rodgers is on the move in the pocket. And I think they can have some success this week versus the Minnesota Vikings by, one, flooding the zone, and two, keeping Aaron Rodgers on the move. Let's show you how we have it drawn up. 3 different plays utilizing the same rollout principles. We're going to have a half roll, a sprint out, and a play action, all flooding the zone to the right side, and it attacks the defense in different ways. You see right here, we're going to motion the backside receiver, and this is the half roll with just a light roll, almost a waggle, and he has your immediate hot read. If he has time, this is a breaking route, or if he, we saw last week Aaron Rodgers can hit a 73-yard pass deep down the field on the rope. But this is your hot read right here. This is your second read, and if you have time, you can set up and hit your third read. And you always want to keep an eye on the safety, because you may be able to sneak that tight end down the seam. And that's why you create this opportunity for this guy right here, because this safety is going to have to adjust and react to that. He's going to have to honor that tight end running straight down the seam. So this is your half roll out with motion on the backside. Right here, this is a straight sprint out. So we're going to utilize Aaron Rodgers' athleticism, get him out there on the edge. We got both backs. We got one back blocking, picking up any oncoming blitzer. We got the fullback or H-back or tight end, whoever they want to put right here. He's running a quick out, so that's your first read. Once again, motion this guy inside, shoot him up the right down the numbers, because you want to track this free safety over top, so that creates your second read, this breaking deep out route. And we know Aaron Rodgers can hit that right there on the money. If all are covered, he can easily take up and run. Here we're going to run fake stretch. We're going to fake the outside stretch play, and that also puts Aaron Rodgers on the move because he's faking right there. And now we have the receiver coming in motion, also helping with any oncoming blitzer right here, then breaking out to the first read, second read, third read. So 3 different plays we've drawn up, all can attack a defense in different ways. All are putting Aaron Rodgers on the move, giving him a two-way go. And we know with the guy that is accurate as he is on the move, it's a dangerous way to defend. So the Packers can have some success moving the pocket, flooding the zone, and taking advantage of the coverages of the Minnesota Vikings.
Christian Ponder is definitely an X factor in this ball game. You look at the first meeting, he had 2 interceptions. Last meeting, 0 interceptions and 3 touchdowns. Now you get back Charles Woodson, his arch nemesis. Protecting the football is priority number 1. If he can do that, they can have a great chance. And Dom Capers will be an X factor in this ball game. He has to get creative in his blitz packages and also create different coverages to confuse Ponder, to force him into some of those bad decisions. So if he can have a great game calling a defense, now he has his big piece back in Charles Woodson, it can go a long way in helping the Packers win this matchup. Now let's look at the personnel breakdown in this ball game, and you can see from the personnel breakdown that there are some deficiencies, and you see where they lie for both teams. For Minnesota, it's the receiving core and the quarterback position. For Green Bay, it's the offensive line. But what's outstanding about both coaching staffs, they're able to find ways to compensate for that. For the Packers, they do a great job of moving the pocket. For the Vikings, they run the football, and they are built strongly on defense. So it evens out the matchup, which is why this will be another close ball game. Here's some of my coaching points for both teams in this matchup. You look for the Vikings. Clearly, ball security is priority number 1. You got to protect the football. You protect the football, you win the game. Stellar linebacker play. I'm a big fan of the Vikings linebacking core. I think they have some of the more underrated linebackers in the league, in particular Chad Greenway, and you have to play the run on the way to the quarterback. The Packers do not even want to attempt to try to run the football. You can get aggressive in getting after Aaron Rodgers. For the Packers, you have to sell out versus the run game. Make this one-dimensional by forcing it to be Ponder versus Rodgers, and hurry up and wait. Which basically means hurry up to the line of scrimmage, get set without snapping the ball. You can wait until the clock starts to slowly run down before you snap the football. The key is you want to force Minnesota to keep the same personnel on the field, and you also want to close the door on Christian Ponder. He's a mobile guy just like Aaron Rodgers. You want to keep him bottled up tackle to tackle, so that way you force him to be efficient from the pocket. I like the Vikings in this ball game. I actually think the Vikings match up very well versus Green Bay. In that first meeting, which was a loss, the linebacking core was all over the football field. They made plays behind the line of scrimmage, stopping the run. Also was active in the pass defense department, the underneath passing game. And you look at the second meeting, which was last week, the defensive line started to come to life. They were able to get pressure on Aaron Rodgers. And I think right now, you look at what the Vikings bring to the table: an efficient offense, very good defense, sound special teams unit. And I do believe Christian Ponder will not turn the ball over. That's the key. If they don't turn the ball over, they win. And I think they do that this week versus Green Bay on the road and come away victorious. And I also want to send a huge shout out to Vikings fan forums and Packer fan forums for always showing football game plan support.